Hey friends, it's Coach T. I am back and I'm really excited. We have had several episodes of Maxing You. We had a lot of great guests on. It was very exciting stuff. And then the pandemic happened and we slowed down and everything came to a screeching halt. Well, I'm really excited to be back because I really do believe in the mission of Maxing You, who we serve and what we do. And I want to get back to it. So let's start with what we're about. For those of you who may be a little bit new to us now, let's get into it. So what we are all about is this elevation of ourselves. That's why it's called Maxing You. I am a coach. I used to be in the relationship consultation business. I have a fitness and nutrition business as well. And, one of the things that I've learned over the years that has stuck with me through everything is that no matter what the hell was going on in my life, that it really all came down to me. And when things were going really well in my life, it really came down to the fact that I was maximizing myself, hence Maxing You, the name of the podcast. And I realized this wasn't just me, but it was everybody. So I worked in a really high-end relationship consulting business, and I work with people all around the world who wanted to find partners. These are people who looked good. These are people who had a lot of money. You would never think that they'd ever have any trouble finding a partner of all things. And yet they did. And I would find that when I was working with these people, that we really would never start to make progress in terms of them actually meeting people who they liked and the dates going well until they started working on themselves, whether that be working on elevating themselves in fitness, in nutrition, in updating their style, in working on their mindfulness, in working on anything, whether it even came down to just getting to know current events better so that they could be more articulate and better conversationalist, any of those things. And, I realized that as a society, there is so much emphasis placed on other people and so much emphasis placed on what other people are doing to us, what is not working for us, that if we just took a little bit of time and we started focusing on ourselves and maximizing ourselves in various areas, that we would start attracting better people around us, whether that be better relationships, romantic relationships, better relationships with our friends and family. We would look better. We'd start to feel good. We'd start probably making more money at work and in our businesses. And so that's what we're all about. So on the episodes of Maxing You, you are going to not only hear from me, but hear from other guests. And we're going to talk about things like nutrition and fitness. We'll talk about things like mindfulness, mindset training. We'll talk about things like style, all sorts of things. And so this will be a really fun place for you to tune in every week to start figuring out how you can take bits and pieces of the information that we teach you each week and start applying it to your life and watching things start to improve. So that is the basis of this show. And with that, I want to dive in. So I want to just riff for a little bit, if you would allow me to do so. And with the new year right here upon us, I've personally been thinking about what the hell do I want for this new year? What does it look like? And, I've had ideas floating in my head and I've been thinking about it. And I decided to start an exercise, which was really taking this thing back internal. So I was thinking about all the stuff that I want to see in my business externally, the stuff that I'd like to see my partner doing better, the stuff that it would be nice if my kids did better, all these things. And I started writing a list of all of the things that I want. what they look like externally, what they look like in my relationships with other people. And it was one hell of a list, guys. It was a good list. And it excited me that there was a possibility of achieving all these things in the new year. And then it dawned on me that on this list, if I wanted to achieve any of these things, that the only way to do it was for me to become everything on this list. And so when I was thinking about my husband and all the things that I would like him to be better at in this new year, I was thinking, well, shit, what if I became that partner? What if I became that person? And ultimately, he would probably start reflecting back to me those very things that I was now reflecting to him. I was thinking about, well, damn, wouldn't it be nice if my kids started to listen, a little bit more, so I don't have to keep repeating myself and losing my voice like you hear. And I said, well, what if I started being a better listener to them? And then they would ultimately start listening to me. I even, for those of you who are listening, who are fitness and nutrition people, I am going to be competing in shows in the coming year. I'm really excited about it. And so I was thinking, well, here are all the ways that I want my body to pop when I get on the stage. And I was thinking, well, how's my body going to do this for me? Here's what I need to do. And then I reflected back and I said, well, here are all the ways that I need to take care of my body. Here are all the foods that I could be putting into it. Here's the commitment that I need to make to my body so that I get the outcome that I want on stage this year. And as you see, it all came back to me. So I would really love to encourage all of you, because there's still time. I would love to encourage all of you to start thinking about what you want for this new year. What does your dream life look like? If you were just to journal and free write for a good 20 minutes, what does it look like? How does it make you feel? And know that you can have absolutely all those things, and start figuring out what steps you can take, even small steps that move you toward that, by having you start reflecting the things that you want. So I've utilized that in my life time and time again, and it never, ever fails me. And every time I start thinking about what somebody else or something, that I need from someone that they could be doing better, the people who I work with, who work in my business, as I said, my family, all these things. And I really start reflecting back, things start to change. So that's my upfront spiel. I would love to take a minute here and talk about a new practice that I'm utilizing that I think would be really, really helpful. And it'd be really cool if, as a community, we started implementing some of this. And one of the things that is really speaking to me right now is I have been listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza. And so he is a physician turned researcher, for those of you who don't know. And he talks a lot about the power of the mind. And so one of the things that really stuck out to me, and I've listened to many, many people over the years, but something that stuck out to me was his discussion about us often living in the past. And so when we wake up, we are thinking about all the things that we need to fix. We're thinking about all the things that we, all the fires that we might need to put out. And then these emotions start getting generated, and these emotions are generated on the basis of feelings and responses of things from the past. And, what happens is we start realizing that we are living the majority of our day in the past with reactions that have been formulated in the past. And yet we all have this big list of how we want everything to be different this new year, but we are continuing to be living in the past. So how do you do that? What do you do? It's a very natural thing, right? And so he talks about when we realize that we're doing this, to sort of pause for a minute not to be deprecating, to be forgiving, but to say, hey, okay, what I really want to focus on is all the good shit that I am ready to have come to me in this new year, this booming business that I'm going to be creating in the new year. What does that feel like? And start feeling those sorts of things. What is this amazing relationship that I'm going to find myself in this year? What does that seem like? What is that like? What are the feelings that it has my body emit? How do I feel? What are the emotions? And when we start doing that, our brains can't really tell the difference between what is a past reaction or experience that we're living in or something that hasn't happened yet. And those things start to become the dominant focus of our mind, which puts us in a better place of receptivity for receiving all the good stuff that we want to come to us. So I think that's really interesting. That's a practice that I'm starting to put into place. I have, several businesses. I've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of people who work with me, for me. I've got a family to take care of. And so it's really easy to get sort of spun up in all this stuff that has to happen, all these things that we have to get to doing. And it can become super overwhelming so that your life becomes just a series of fires that you must put out. And there's a way around it. And using this method is extremely helpful. So there's that. So what else? Another one of the really cool practices that I am putting into practice consistently in this new year is this idea of gratitude. And everybody's like, yeah, I know gratitude. What the hell does it have to do with any of the stuff you're talking about? Well, I believe and I find even in myself that when I start outlining in a journal in the mornings all of the stuff that I'm grateful for, I start seeing more and more things that I can be grateful for and less of those things that are the fires I've got to put out, the things that aggravate me and upset me. And it's a really good way to, to give thanks, to be present, and to start yourself with some positive momentum. But not only that, I am tending to find as I'm writing my gratitude list that my life is full of a lot of stuff to be grateful for, and that no matter how many things I feel could be improved, there's a hell of a lot of stuff to be grateful for. And putting that into perspective as I am starting to go about my day is really important. And I think that's a practice that all of us should be putting into practice. And I don't say any of this stuff that I'm telling you because they're not things that I don't struggle with. They are, and that's why we're having these conversations. I'm only sharing the things that I've been utilizing that are helpful. And so our plan here is to make this a community environment. What we're going to do is have guests come on every week. There'll be some guests. Sometimes it'll be me. I'll be talking about the things that are on my heart, things that I'm experiencing, ways that I think they could be helpful to you. We will have guests on who talk about their life experiences, about fitness and nutrition and mindfulness and life in general. We will, as a community, we'll start the year where we are here. And as a community, we'll end up in a better place for having listened to this podcast and show over, the several weeks. And that's the idea of this. And so I invite you to check out maxingyou.com to look at some of the free resources that we have, whether they be blog posts and articles that we have, other information, and really just make some time to come back and join us. So with that, I'm out, and I will see you on the next episode. So bye for now.